Hi, dear Minister. My name is Christina from Sound and Hope Radio. We broadcast through internet, local time, and also shortwave direct to China mainland. I have a direct question without sugarcoated, if you don't mind. A lot of people want to know. You did mention China play a very important role, and also you will continually play this role. But we all know it's different system from the Western country, and without me mentioning, the real Tinto cases. So how much concern do you have with dealing more? And also, do you think our government, how you ensure the government can protect the benefit of Australian company and also the business person there? Thank you.
Okay, look, I think this is a very important question, and as much as we would like to think that we all operated under the same rules, we don't. And whether it's China because of its political system, and it's not unique in Asia. I mean, Vietnam, for example, these are countries that have had a history, either because they were colonised or exploited, that they don't forget. And if we don't understand that as an underpinner in their culture, we're doomed to fail in terms of advancing the relationship. So I think understanding, first of all, the history and the approach that they come to in trying to embrace westernisation, and embracing is probably the wrong term, deal with westernisation without having made a conscious decision to embrace it, and probably in a number of cases they don't want to embrace it. We have to live with that. It's also true that people who do business in other countries have to observe the laws of those countries. So often consular cases that rise in the context of problems, we're dealing often with circumstances in which the laws that apply there don't apply here, and people are trying to make judgments about application in accordance with Australian law. We can't impose our legal system or those standards on China, just as we wouldn't want China to be imposing theirs on us. So your question then is, how do we deal with that? I think we deal with it by understanding it and by having a political dialogue, not just a government-to-government dialogue, and certainly not a megaphone diplomacy approach. We've continued to treat the Sternhu case as a consular case. We've argued for its expeditious and transparent handling. We continue to do that. It's gone from the procuratorate to the legal system, and there's a timeline for that being dealt with. But so far as the economic relationship is concerned, I'm convinced that what's going to drive that is the realisation that both our economies are heavily dependent on each other. And if that's the bind, and it's not just related to China, I think it's true of so many countries. You go back to the essential elements that countries need, mostly developing countries, but it's not limited to them, need for sustainability. Energy and resource security, food security, water and skills development, because skills are the determinant of how a nation's able to adapt and embrace and grow and sustain itself. Australia can play in all of those areas in a quality way. What we've got to do is to get the market openings. That's what we're finding difficult in a number of these FTA negotiations. China, Japan, Korea, but we will persist, because in the end what we'll win over is the realisation that it's mutually beneficial and mutually reinforcing. And quite frankly, the student movements and the people movements are the most important, because that way people get a better understanding, much better understanding, deeper down, not just at government to government level, deeper down as to what the cultural differences are, what the attitudes are, what the objectives of the government are. I think through that better understanding we'll make it. But when I was opposition leader, I established the political dialogue between the Labor Party and the Communist Party of China because I believed it was important to have a party-to-party dialogue to deal with sensitive issues as much as a government